The boundary theory, a theory that states that workers can separate between work and personal lives through processes of segmentation and integration. A study inspired by Christina Nippert-Eng. Workplace counselors, hired in an effort to prevent workplace burnout. The position acts alongside human resources as a backbone of both employee well-being and workplace efficiency. Though be as it may, a counselor shared by an entire workforce comes with the risk of an autonomy. This is due to adding a personal service into a professional environment, which is a mix known to have a stigma around it. I believe the saying, "don't bring work home," exists with the intent of setting a line for workers to keep in mind as to maintain a balance between the two lives. This can very well affect the task efficiency of workers. So ponder the question, to what extent should accommodated counseling support a worker's personal life? We can separate ideals between the spectrum of integration and segmentation. There are a few viewpoints that we can discuss in order to evaluate the value of each perspective. Some organizations set mental well-being at a high priority, each taking their own approach to it. Organizations such as Barclays, Pinterest, and Patra Jasa dedicate a program for colleagues to share their stories without strict supervision from any party. Meanwhile, some like Akamai and Microsoft hire a specified wellness manager to oversee regulations in terms of counseling limitations. This difference in systems between communal and specialized styles of counseling may play a large role in why the topic of boundaries treads such a large spectrum. Normally, a counselor remains on standby for employees to approach on their own merit to discuss whatever bothers their headspace. The issue arises when we consider the concept of mental autonomy. A notion within professional counseling is that it suggests a transaction between client and professional to be had. Here's what Pak Buncha Harbunangin, a psychologist of over 30 years, thinks of that purpose.
Yang ditukar dengan uang adalah waktu yang disediakan. Yang kedua, tentunya kan psikologi atau psikolog itu kan berusaha untuk membantu memecahkan masalah yang belum tentu bisa dilakukan oleh orang lain yang bukan psikolog.
With that said, a study by Pearl Schroeder inspired by Nippert-Eng's work and home suggests the necessity of such a transaction due to the nature of professionalism to separate the two lives. The contrast between Nippert-Eng's theorem and Mr. Harbunangin's experience does well to show the contrast between the two perspectives of segmentation and integration, respectively. The spectrum between those two arguably have the most important factor in this study, that being the topic of conversations that clients can have with their counselors. I was able to get a hold of Miss Windy, human resource representative from Pratajasa, and get her opinion on the extent of conversations.
Batasnya itu jangan terlalu dalam ya, tetap memberi jarak menurut saya. Mungkin lebih menceritakan masalah yang memang berdampak langsung dengan pekerjaan itu. Kalau beberapa orang nyaman ya atau bisa cerita kayak gitu. Tapi maksudnya sebenarnya sih karena kita tetap ada aspek profesionalitas gitu. Jadi sebenarnya sih hanya menceritakan hal-hal yang memang berdampak langsung dengan pekerjaan gitu.
In support of segmentation, there are two main ideas that Ms. Windy prominently brought up to support her argument: appropriate professionality and our focus, peer-to-peer relationships. Patrajasa supports a system where counselors are part of the main workforce, being only an extension of those from human resources. This can shy away clients that have previously come to them, being a reminder to previously discussed topics. So that being said, it can also work the other way around and serve as a safe place for those clients that have came to them. On the entire opposite end of the spectrum stands integration, also boasting two main ideals: confidentiality as well as ideals.
Batas pembicaraan sebetulnya tidak ada, karena itu kan intinya adalah rahasia. Apapun boleh diceritakan, apapun boleh dibahas. Jadi kalau ditanya batas, masalah apa, mau pekerjaan, perkawinan, seksual, kesehatan, rohani, agama, apapun boleh.
Supporting integration, Mr. Mucha made it clear his reasoning resonating with his ideals of both freedom and confidentiality. In this sense, responsibility over autonomy could also rely greatly on the client's sense of self and ability to maintain working performance. Though despite the intentions, if a client becomes reliant on counseling, then the role of the service becomes questionable, and could very well be more of a detriment as clients tackle their daily lives rather than a benefit. With the rise of mental well-being becoming a priority, the generational meaning has also been latched onto it, even in an organizational context.
Kalau kecenderungannya, kalau gen sekarang saya melihatnya tuh lebih kecenderungannya ke situ ya. Kalau saya melihat di sosial media gitu, orang-orang bikin konten gitu kayak resign karena mental health dan lain-lain itu. Tapi kalau masa saya sih kayaknya itu agak jarang terjadi gitu. Jadi kalau di mereka tuh ya udah perbaikin udah.
Major differences in generational gaps include those surrounding work culture, as younger generations have grown to be more emotionally attached to their career paths. Throughout the years, the perception of professional counseling has also evolved differently in relation to different cultural standards. Cultural context may also have a significant effect on the common standard of boundaries regarding integration and segmentation in their respective areas. Here we'll evaluate some perspectives of industrial counseling clients from two leading countries, Germany and Japan. One key difference was likely the general approach these countries take towards workplace counseling, namely in their respective flexibility. This reflects their culture-related development of counseling, as Germany tends to put staff well-being to be flexible, rather than Japan's more operational outlook on work culture, showing traits of integration and segmentation respectively. Organizations need a reason to justify investing into a worker's mental wellness, and that goal lies in working efficiency. Our argued spectrum exists to show contrasts between ideals from different viewpoints in how to tackle counseling boundaries in the office. With the clash between ideals and operations, it is the human resources' duty to set a clear guideline to what client and counselor limits are, so that does not shift away responsibility from either parties, as they all should be contributing towards the same goal, bettering the workplace environment as a whole.